now. Yeah, we have sound now. Us and our sound is all the little things make a difference. Like, sound.
We were just discussing how much John does not like change.
We were discussing about change and being put on this side because why did you change? Why did we change?
Well, if I told you that I wouldn't have, if I want to tell you publicly, then I wouldn't have.
I believe
switched
I
sides.
know the reason, and I feel like you think that's your better side.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a great big zit on
Oh,
my chin.
okay. So it's like you made me sit over here for your insecurity.
Can you hear us now?
Which brought out my insecurity.
I know.
Okay,
Tied
so
my insecurity.
I'm on the other side.
Plus, I've wanted to change
And
sides for a while.
you made fun of me and I said that hurt. And then I said, you know what really hurts? I got vaccinated yesterday and my arm hurts. I had trouble sleeping last night because I kept rolling on it. And then I was like, are you allowed to say that you got vaccinated?
Were you excited to get vaccinated?
I was.
Were you?
I was one of the guys in the cattle herding process of like the 50 people that work there. I would have been the anxious one. But my anxiety comes out in making cracks and high-fiving people. And, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm like,
they're like, 6 feet, 6 feet.
And they're trying to duck out of my... And so then I sat in the nurse's chair finally, and I see the needle, and I'm like, my hands are a bit sweaty. And so I like to tell people that I'm not very good at this. A nurse came from across the room and started giving me a back massage. She goes, you're going to be okay, sir. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Thank you so much. And then I just said, do a little countdown, and I like to breathe in. So she said, I'm really good at this. So drop your arm and play the piano with this hand. And I'm like, so I did that, and I was like, this is dumb. So I just kind of moved my fingers on my leg, and then she just goes 3, 2, 1. I go. I couldn't really tell you when it went in or when it left. And I'm like, I am soft. Like,
you're soft.
It's the mind. I realize, okay, I've actually vomited due to, okay.
I
forget we're live.
In.
I've actually made myself vomit due to needles. And this is from a little kid to not so old. Like, anyway. Your mind can trick you. Your mind can convince your body of something, and you have a physical reaction to it that makes you sick. It's unbelievable, the power of my mind.
Do you feel that has been removed?
I totally believe that there's been a healing in my mind so that my mind isn't controlling my body to make me sick. I was anxious, so getting it. And then I feel like, is that something you can talk about? I feel like we should have a vaccinated badge where I can walk around without a mask. But in the States, you can do that. Hey, we're going to do a reading, guys. Thank you for joining us. Sorry that there was no volume. I hope you stuck around long enough that we did get volume.
Our reading today is It's Okay to Be Me. Time after time, newcomers have tried to keep to themselves certain facts about their lives. They have turned to easier methods, but they had not learned enough humility. That's from Alcoholics Anonymous, page 72 to 73. Humility sounds so much like humiliation, but it really is the ability to look at myself and honestly accept what I find. I no longer need to be the smartest or dumbest or any other ist. Finally, it's okay to be me. It is easier for me to accept myself if I share my whole life. If I cannot share in meetings, then I had better have a sponsor, someone with whom I can share those certain facts that could lead me back to a drunk or death. I need to take all the steps. I need the 5th step to learn true humility. Easier methods do not work.
While you're reading that, I was reminded of the whole point of this. What I think the reading is about, what it's speaking to me is about, is not living in shame. And so being able to come from a place of humility and not humiliation. And I remember while you're reading this is what got brought up, and it's embarrassing. So I remember when you said enough is enough, and I'm going to tell your parents that you do the cocaine. And I'm like part of me is like, I should be there, but I'm not going to be, because that's horrible. Like, what a horrible, like, how are you going to do it? Like, what are you just going to tell them? Your son's doing the cocaine. And I'm like, I'd be surprised if they were surprised. But at the same time, I did not want to be anywhere near that area, or I just didn't want to have that conversation. And then when you got pregnant, you said, I have to tell our parents. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't show up because I was in shame. And so I'm living out of my false identity. And so when I get into recovery, I can look back on these things and go like, I did horrible things as a human being, but step 5 shows me that these horrible things that I've done don't define me, but this is my life separated from God.
That's good.
And so even not drinking or doing the cocaine, I would still live out of the shame, being disconnected from God. So the step 5 is actually showing me this is what your life looks like on self-will. And you're full of shame. Mm-hmm. You're being humiliated. You don't face the things that I look down. I don't want to be like, I'm just living in shame. And so a person in recovery can't live out of a false identity.
Right. And I think as a family of an addict or an alcoholic, and as, developing codependent tendencies, it's easier for us to just like focus on everyone else instead of admitting what's going on with us, with me. Right. And so for me, it was always like, focus on other people, just, try to make this look good, try to cover up over here, doing all these things, and like just getting so consumed with everything except what was happening inside of me.
Yeah, I think I can look back on the codependent part of the relationship where, you would tell everybody how horrible and you've left me. And then 2 weeks later, we get back together. And it's like this yo-yo ride of like,
I learned not to tell people.
But then you live in isolation because of the shame and the humiliation. Right. And so that's not humility. So,
well, and I mean, a tough thing is like a lot of people don't know what to do with that, right? We don't know how to interact with someone who's in extreme pain. We don't know how to interact with someone and how to respond to someone when they keep harming themselves, when they keep going back to things that are hurtful for them. We don't know how to just sit and be present and listen and not give advice and not get frustrated that they're not listening to our advice, and just, we'd rather just like not bother with that person. Yeah. And so I really didn't have anyone left at that kind of end point in time. And it's understandable. I'm not, I think I do it in my own life where I'm just like, ooh, that's too hard. I can't actually like be present for this. And so I'm just gonna go over here. And I forget where I was going with that.
One of the things when I look at promises in the book of recovery, it promises a lot of the same things that drugs and alcohol or codependency offers. It does offer peace. One of the promises that alcohol could never deliver to me was that I will be able to look the world in its eye. And so that's what, like, my recovery has actually lifted my head so that I can, in humility and not in humiliation, look at people straight in the eye. Look at the camera straight in the eye. And that's a promise, because my life is defined by God and not the world around me and my expectations inside of what you think you should see of me.
Yeah, I can totally understand that, because I think we, through the process of recovery, and there's, other processes that people can get to that place too, where they no longer have any secrets. Right. And so it's not like everybody has to know everything, but when there's nothing that's hidden and there's nothing in secret, there's nothing that I'm ashamed of, I can look the world in the eye. And when I can realize that my past mistakes don't actually define me. And just because I screwed up, 15 times before doesn't mean necessarily that I'm going to screw up again, that I actually can learn and I can grow, and that with power, that there is a power greater than me that can give me the strength to make a different decision next time.
And then even God rewrites our belief system. God rewrites our whiteboard. He erases the things like I remember I can't ever make a mistake. And so that's a belief system that I have, and it defines me because I do make mistakes. Everybody does. And so today, even though I can I believe that it's okay to make mistakes. So simple things like that. I want to leave us today with the meditation of, am I walking in humility, or am I still living out of humiliation? And so where in my life am I walking in shame? Maybe there's still parts of our lives that we still are shameful about. And so maybe there needs to be healing and identity that only comes from God, our Father, our employer, our director, our principal. Anything else?
No, I can't.
Sorry for not having volume at the front end.
Thanks for hanging out.
Have a great Friday.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary. How you doing?
Hi,
Matt,
Gary.
Thanks for hanging out. Karen. Look at all these gems. Jason. And we will see you hopefully this weekend. And if not, we'll see you Monday. Have a great afternoon. Have a great Friday. Wash your hands and keep the peace and be of good behavior.